Hello. And yes, I am promoting number go up again theory. And we're going to explain why number go up is very, very important for both the long term and the short term. Some of you are like, nah, man, number go up. Those are for those short term thinkers. I'm playing the long game. My project's numbers are not going to go up right now, but we're settling the foundation for the future. No, no, no. Number go up is foundation for the future, for a very, very long future, because we're still in the newer stages of a market, and you need to get that network effect going. Number go up is important for the short term and the long term. We'll explain why. Short term, obviously, number go up, you make money. I don't really need to explain that. That's self-explanatory. Why it's important for the long term. Think about Ethereum. Ethereum's number definitely has gone up, and it hasn't really built this brilliant technology bottom, but it's still number one after so many years. And I bet you in 4 years, it'll probably still be number one, because it's really hard to get people off of a network once they're on a network, once the money is there. If it was all based on technology, Ethereum would have lost its lead a couple of years ago. We are talking about a network that bogs down every single time we have a bull run. And it bogs down for weeks at a time. Solana was kind of down for like half a week, maybe a week. But the fees were about the same price. Ethereum, on the other hand, bogs down for like weeks, months at a time, and the fees are hundreds of dollars, and you still lose some of the fees even if the transactions don't go through. I've heard a lot of people say that, and I definitely would believe them. So if it was about simplicity, speed, convenience, Ethereum would not be number one right now. Yes, there's layer two, but the one that gets bogged up, it's still the main chain, and a lot of the liquidity is still on the main chain. People are still using that layer one. There's a lot of stuff out there that isn't on Base, that isn't on Optimism, not on Arbitrum, not on anything else layer two Ethereum, that's still only on Ethereum. And there's a crap ton of people that still use it more than any other network. And those networks are 100 times better to use for retail. You can say that Ethereum is going up because institutional adoption. No, 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 no. The only people that use Ethereum are retail. And retail does a lot of transactions. You are talking about a network that maxes out at basically 14 TPS. It was the start of DeFi. And because of that, all the DeFi money is gathered on Ethereum. And if you actually look at why Ethereum crashed, first because it was a crypto kitties, then it was because of some DeFi protocol, and then like a couple of other times, it was because some meme coin debuted on Ethereum and was taking up all the transactions. So you can tell it's not the industrial utility that's making Ethereum crash. It's the meme coins, and that's still, even for Ethereum, that's like the vast majority, if not all of its use. Like Ethereum's transactions and use comes from meme coins, and also like DeFi and some NFTs as well. It's not industrial utility. Industrial utility doesn't give Ethereum its value. If Ethereum didn't have meme coins, if it didn't have DeFi, if it didn't have NFTs or any of that stuff, it wouldn't be worth anything right now. It'd still be like $100 or less, because no one would actually be using it, no one would be giving it volume, and no one would be giving it value. There's obviously the staking as well, but a lot of coins have staking, and they're not really that much different from Ethereum. So based on that, you can tell that even though Ethereum's foundation kind of sucks, the technological foundation kind of sucks, because I think we can all agree that generally really large fees and slow transactions and bogged down network every time we have a bull run is not a good technological foundation, and they haven't managed to solve it yet. Even though it's probably like one of the crappiest tech foundations in terms of L1s, it's still dominant. Why? Because it was first, it got that network effect, and now it's hard and nearly impossible to get people off, even though there's other options. And that's the other thing I need to tell you. Like, number go up makes developers want to use your chain. One of the primary things that developers look for when looking to start a project, which chain they want to start it on, it's liquidity. You either have it or you don't. Now, just for an example, I've gotten 2 VeChain projects. MVG is one of them that started on VeChain but are moving to other chains. Yes, if you're wondering, MVG is actually moving on to BNB. Why? It's not because VeChain technologically couldn't handle it. It's not because VeChain can't handle the transactions per second or the smart contracts. It's literally because VeChain does not have the liquidity. And they straight up told me that VeChain doesn't have the liquidity. That's how I know. And if I look at it, that's right. Like there's no one to actually buy your coins. So like your number's not going up and it's hard to fund the ecosystem and fund the project that way. So that's why they're moving on to BNB. There's a lot more liquidity and they get people to buy your coins. And why is that? Because BNB's number went up. It went way up. And that's why people are leaving for Solana and not getting off of Solana to go to other chains, because Solana's number went up. And that's why people are still going to Ethereum and starting prices on Ethereum, not because the chains are great, not because the fees are great because they suck, but because Ethereum's number went up, which attracted the devs, which attracted all the liquidity. It all ties together. The thing is, like, if you don't get liquidity, like, fast when everyone's competing for it, 10 years out from now, you're like, oh, we got a sound technological base. We can handle all the transactions. All right, everyone, come to us. Guess what? No one's coming to you. Because if that was true, everyone would leave Ethereum and go to these other chains, and they're not doing that right now. You see Solana when it's bogged down. The thing is, like, those projects on Solana are still on Solana. Like the DeFi protocols, the DeFi protocols, like the memes, everything else, NFTs, they're still on Solana. They're not really moving off. And another thing is these projects that are multi-chain, they're going to move the vast majority of their project onto the chains that have liquidity. Yes, they'll still be on those smaller chains, but most of the action is going to take place on the chains where the freaking number went up. Yes, you can't, like, right now in crypto, you can't be building a foundation without liquidity for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years while everyone else is sucking up that liquidity. Because you know what? There's going to be a lot of infighting, and there's only going to be a couple of winners. And those winners are going to be decided before you get everything down pat. And like 2 of my investments are VeChain and Cardano. And the reason I'm kind of upset with them is because they don't have the liquidity, and therefore the number's not going to go up. If the number doesn't go up, it won't attract developers. If it won't attract developers, it doesn't have a solid foundation for the future. You can have the best decentralized foundation for the future, but if your number doesn't go up, you're not going to get the developers. Because you know what? Guess what? The developers also want their number to go up. And for that number to go up, for the developers' number to go up, they need users. And users look for the chains with the best liquidity. Developers also look for the chains for the best liquidity. Like some of you are thinking, nah, man, developers, they should pick the best technological chain. They don't care if their number go up because they're in it for the long term. Even the developers that are doing long-term projects, they need funding. If you if you truly don't think that those developers care if the number goes up or not, you be tripping, bro. You're a fool. Everyone cares if their number goes up because that determines how much funding you can get from a chain. Money matters at every stage of the project. And if your number doesn't go up, your ecosystem does not have any money. And if your ecosystem does not have any money, it does not attract developers. If you don't attract developers, you don't have an ecosystem. So see how this builds upon itself? You can't just be like industrial utility, that's going to boost us up. When has that ever boosted a blockchain up? We've been fed this carrot for like 5 years. You can't give me one damn example where like industrial utility has actually boosted the price of a network or a price of a network's coin up where it actually got more liquidity. And don't tell me Ethereum, because that industrial utility hasn't boosted Ethereum's price. That's got nothing to do with Ethereum's price. Ethereum's price blew up because of DeFi, because of NFTs, because of crap like CryptoKitties. And don't tell me CryptoKitties is industrial utility. That's just another one of those crappy games that exists on every other chain, like Axie Infinity, which got popular and then it died. So the thing is, like, you can't just be like, oh, we're building for the future for the next 10 years, and then our number is going to go up. Because if you're waiting for 10 years for your number to go up, guess what? It's never going up. That's right. You need number to go up right now to attract the people, to attract the developers, to attract more people to your system, so number can keep going up. So like, I like it that some people do have the long-term view, but you need to actually have your number go up within the span of a couple of years when you start your project, because that's when that hype is going, especially during these bull runs when the hype is going. You need that liquidity. You need that number to go up so you can attract more developers. You don't get the number to go up, you're not attracting anyone. You're not setting any kind of foundational base, because a lot of the foundational base for a project is the financial base for it. Projects need money to survive. Projects don't operate in a vacuum. Developers want to get paid. Founders want to get paid. The treasury needs to be filled. You need to be able to hire people. Ask Litecoin. They got no one on their foundation because they can't afford it, and their coin's going to go to crap. Same thing with a lot of these other projects. There's no money to fund the project, so they go kaput. There are many projects out there in crypto and otherwise that had great ideas, and the founders and developers did not want to rug pull, but they eventually ran out of money, couldn't get funding, so they had to abandon the project. Those weren't rug pulls, they just ran out of money because they didn't have good planning. And that applies for crypto as well. And the higher your number goes up, the more funding you actually get. I mean, look at Ripple. I mean, they have a huge supply, and they were one of the first coins out there. But, they did have that giant number go up back in like 2017. And even though it has come down, it's still several times, many, many times what they started with. And they have a funding of like billions of dollars. Now, I don't think their number is going to go up that much anymore because they failed to develop their ecosystem entirely. And now they're only starting with like DeFi and AMMs and stuff like that. I think it's a little too late for them. And they still don't prioritize third-party development because people are still thinking, oh, industrial utility is going to carry us to the moon, which is never going to do, by the ways. They had that initial number go up, even though it was 8 years ago, and most of you weren't actually in XRP at that time. They're able to fund their project, their other company, for a long time because of that. But it's the same way for other projects. You need that number to go up like initially, so you have that initial funding. And some coins do have the initial funding, some from VCs, but the VCs also want returns as well. And VCs, the average time between investment and return is around 5 or 6 years. So if you're like a VC and you haven't seen a return from investment from 10 years ago, you're probably getting a little frustrated with that investment. VCs also have a timeline, and that timeline is not eternity, contrary to popular belief. They kind of know what's going on in the industry, and they'll stop giving money to a project if it doesn't get returns for 6, 7, 8 years. And, for those projects that are thinking, yeah, we can just build for 10 years, not have our number go up, and then have our number go up afterwards, that generally does not work. And for the investors of that project, that also generally does not work. Because the thing is, when you buy a crypto, you don't buy part of the company. So they don't really have any loyalty to you because you have no voting power in the actual foundation. They can just shrug off the crypto and develop the project on itself without the crypto as well. And a company can morph like that. And since you don't have any voting power, you really don't have any say in that. So that, in a nutshell, is why number go up is very, very important for both the short term and the long term. Because if your number doesn't go up in a bull run, the first bull run of your project, or at least the second bull run of your project, it's probably never going up because you're going to run out of funding. The development is probably going to decrease. And you're missing out that network effect, and you're losing the competition to everyone else who is trying to make number go up. So there needs to actually be part of a team of any project that's focusing on the number go up part. And that part is just as important as the technological development part because it takes both technology and money and investors and interest to make a project successful. And if your number doesn't go up, people are not going to be interested in your retail investors are not going to be invested in your project, and you're not going to have as much funding, which is not going to please the VCs as much, which means they're not going to give funding to your project. So it all wraps together. So stop laughing at people that think number go up is important, because number go up is very, very important for crypto projects overall. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.